Hello, my name is Evan Pennington. I would first like to say thank you for accepting my paper into your symposium. And I'm just going to read my paper to you all. So I titled it Barkey's Critique of Foucault and the Feminist Critique of Marxism. Foucault's Microphysics of Power shows how institutions can control and regulate the body, whether subconsciously or consciously. Barkey, who critiques Foucault, believes that this tool could potentially be powerful in the hands of feminist political philosophers. I'll also discuss the relationship between Marxism and feminism and how, according to Hartman, there's an unhappy relationship between the two. I'll be arguing that the more convincing argument lies with Barkey. While I agree with some of what Hartman argues, I believe that if feminists could control or help shape the institutions that use Foucault's microphysics of power, it will not matter which economic ideology is adopted. First, I'll discuss what Foucault's microphysics of power are. The microphysics of power are, Foucault says, docile bodies that require uninterrupted coercion be directed to the very process of bodily activity. These bodies are controlled inside of institutions such as the military, hospitals, schools, and prisons. A quote from Foucault shows how these institutions work. When was then being formed was a policy of coercions that act upon the body, a calculated manipulation of its elements, its gestures, its behavior. The human body was entering a machinery of power that explores it, breaks it down, and rearranges it. A political anatomy, which was also a mechanics of power, was being born. It defined how one may have a hold over others' bodies, not only so that they may do what one wishes, but so that they may operate as one wishes, with the techniques, the speed, and the efficiency that one determines. Thus, discipline produces subjected and practiced bodies, docile bodies. Jeremy Bentham's panopticon perfectly captures what Foucault is getting at. The panopticon is a prison that has a circular structure with a tower at the center of the circular structure, have windows able to look inside the inner ring. The cells have two windows, one on the outside and another facing towards the tower. Each cell is occupied by one person cut off from everyone else. All is needed, says Bentham, is one guardsman to sit in the tower because no prisoner can tell if they are being watched or not. Although Barkey acknowledges that Foucault was onto something with this, she believes that he ignored that men's bodies are different to women's bodies and that gender norms are the style of the flesh. Barkey outlines three categories of disciplinary practices that deal with gender. 1. Those that are aiming to produce a body of a certain size. 2. Those bringing forth a specific repertoire of gestures, postures, and movements. And 3. The threat to treat the body as an ornamented surface. The first category is pretty self-explanatory. Many forms of advertisement or clothing stores show that women are to be a certain size. And if you are not this size, as my sisters had to do once, they had to special order clothing from stores. Mass circulation of women's, Barkey says, quote, mass circulation of women's magazines run articles on dieting in virtually every issue. Skinny Victoria's Secret models and or hourglass figures are certain sizes that Barkey has expressed that are present in today's popular culture. However, there is a movement that began a short while ago that calls women to embrace their bodies the way are and not what the microphysics of the world tell them to be. The second category calls, for example, women to sit only cross-legged and small, never take up much space. Barkey says, quote, they are hesitant to move beyond. This manifests itself both in a reluctance to reach, stretch, and extend the body to meet resistances of matter in motion, as in sport or in performance of physical tasks, and in a typically constricted posture and general style of movement. The third category involves the body as an ornamental surface, which is a fancy way to say how women wear makeup and select certain articles of clothing. Barkey says, quote, a woman's skin must be soft, supple, hairless, and smooth. This quote from Barkey perfectly summarizes this third category. Now that these flaws have been noted, why does Barkey still believe in the Foucauldian theory? Foucault said this about the insidiousness of power. Power seeks to transform the minds of those individuals who might be tempted to resist it, not merely to punish or imprison their bodies. This requires two things: a finer control of the body's time and its movements, a control that cannot be achieved without ceaseless surveillance, and a better understanding of the specific person, of the genesis and nature of his case. Bartkey can see that by using Foucault's theory, you can see the microphysics of power used against women, and women can use this as a basis for rebellion. Bartkey believes we need a new female aesthetic, meaning we must create the new microphysics of power to empower women and to finally get out of this patriarchal system of oppression. Hartman believes that capitalism and the patriarchy are major issues in the fight for gender equality. While she believes people like Marx were correct, she believed that they neglected women again by being, quote, sex blind to the issues of feminists and missed out on the analyses that feminists can offer to the revolution. While Bartkey also believes that the modern bourgeoisie society is problematic, Bartkey does not go real deep into the economics of the feminist struggle. Hartman agrees with the Marxists that class inequality does play a role in keeping gender inequality down. However, she wants the Marxists to open their eyes and see that even the revolution is not enough to help the women become free from the patriarchy. Men are seen as power hungry and dominating, similar to that of capitalism. Many of the microphysics of power that Foucault and Bartkey outline can be found in the male dominant home and in the Marxist home. However, like Bartkey, Hartman believes that if women were to take control of Marxism, women could flip the script on man and show that they cannot be small and obedient anymore in a capitalist sexist society. Hartman argues that capitalism and the patriarchy are mutually enforcing systems of oppression. For example, even a rich man will defend a poor man before defending a woman. Men control women, according to Hartman, by controlling key resources such as the living wage and steering women towards less well-paying pink-collar jobs. Another way is controlling education of children to embrace the gender norms, with femininity being sold as less valuable. After reading about Bartkey, you may start to notice some of the microphysics of power here in the capitalist patriarchal society. Initially, women and children worked in the factories. However, men saw this as a threat to themselves, as women and children were cheaper competition than men, and women could not serve more than one master. When kids did work, they were understood as the charge of the father, but when it became illegal, children became the charge of the mother. The sexual division of labor is still around today, with women getting lower wages for the same types of jobs they would have done around the home. I believe that Bartkey's position is the best way to engage in feminist philosophy because you do not get caught up in the different economic ideologies or different political ideologies. Here, Bartkey's Foucauldian theory shows the many microphysics of power displayed in any society. As I laid out by using Hartman, even a Marxist revolution cannot resolve all the feminist struggles, and shows the different microphysics of power that can remain in a non-capitalist society. We must use the Bartkey-Foucauldian theory in order to fight the root causes of the oppression of women. In conclusion, I argued that Bartkey's critique of Foucault is the more convincing argument than that of the Marxist critique of Hartman. While the Marxist feminist account has a strong argument, the Bartkey-Foucauldian critique can be used universally in any society to fight gender inequality. Excuse me. I believe that if feminists could control or help shape the institutions that uses Foucault's microphysics of power, it will not matter which economic ideology is adopted. Excuse me. Again, thank you for allowing me to participate in your gender symposium, and I hope you enjoyed my paper. Thank you.